name is Patricia Chibiliti, and this is that time of the week, and so exciting. This is Ubumi Bwesu on Millennium Radio, and today I have an absolutely intriguing discussion. Men and women must listen. We all must listen, because I think what we're going to learn today is going to really just make a difference in our lives. This morning we are looking at impotence in men. And to discuss this but to discuss this topic with me, I have in the studio Dr. Robert Kachacha. He's from UTH, the Department of Urology, and he's going to help us look at the issues around impotence. And he told me before that you don't need to add in men, just say impotence, because it only applies to men. Dr. Kachacha, good morning.
Good morning, Patricia.
I'm fine, thank you, and thank you so much for joining us. We are happy to have you. Okay, so this morning, like I said, we're looking at impotence, and I am told that it is only in men. Kapena Yawakazi, it's got a different name. I don't know.
Yeah, obviously. Maybe because of their own a problem with sexual dysfunction.
Okay, okay. We've learned another term, sexual dysfunction. So today, doctor, we're talking about impotence in men. And I'm going to begin by asking you, what is impotence?
Alright, so in English, it's called impotence. In medical circles, it is called erectile dysfunction. So you find that a lot of listeners are going to have a mix-up. They are going to say, I have impotence, and the term impotence is going to have a lot of misunderstandings. It is misinterpreted in a lot of places. So impotence is the same in medical terms as erectile dysfunction. This is a problem with a man who have a rigid enough erection of the sexual organ to allow for penetration during lovemaking.
That, oh, right. Okay. Okay, even I'm thrown away by that. I'm thrown away by that explanation. So it's about a man not having a sufficiently functionable erection.
Yes, so it is when the penis or when the male organ cannot erect, cannot be rigid enough to allow for a lovemaking.
I see.
So this problem, actually, there are several forms of this problem. So there are some people who are going to have a problem to initiate an erection. Then there are men who are going to have the initiate an erection, but before the lovemaking process is completed, then they lose that
They
erection.
can't sustain it.
And there are some who are going to sustain some form of erection, but it is not rigid enough to allow for satisfactory lovemaking.
Okay.
So all those are forms of erectile dysfunction.
And you have told us that erectile dysfunction, yeah, I mean, makamba in my doctors, is it asara, is it makamba impotence? Okay. But it's the same thing. It is the same thing. Okay. So anyway, you've explained a little bit, but maybe we can give us a bit more detail. So doctor, how will it manifest itself? I am impotent. How is this thing going to manifest? This problem going to manifest itself?
Well, that's a good question. So our listeners will do well to know, like we said, there are several forms of this problem. So to begin with, men are going to realize there's a problem when they cannot have a stiff enough erection to penetrate. So that this happens a lot of times in men. So it is said that every man at one point or other in his life is going to have this problem. He's going to have an inability to perform satisfactorily sexually because their erection is not rigid enough. So it happens once in a man. But then, for this problem to become significantly worrying, then this man has to have it recurrently occurring over an extended period of time. Literature and maybe in medicine, we accept the period of like a month. So if you have this problem recurring to you like towards a period of a month, then you get worried enough to seek medical attention.
Okay.
So how it manifests, so it will be like during lovemaking, before the actual process of lovemaking, one finds that they cannot get excited to the extent that they actually have this rigid, functional erection which is going to be able to penetrate the lady.
Okay.
So that is then an indication that there is a problem.
Okay.
And the other indication could be that the process starts, but before the man reaches the peak, then they lose this erection. So it was rigid in the beginning, but as the process of lovemaking is going on, then that erection, that rigid erection, which is supposed to be incremental as one is approaching the phase of orgasm, then it is lost. Then again, that is an indication that there is a problem. Then for some, they are going to have a flaccid kind of erection. It is an erection, but it is not rigid enough. And of course, that also is going to indicate that there is a problem.
Okay. And Doc, you spend your time dealing with these issues. You do.
Yes, we see quite a number of people in this problem.
Okay. So now, Doc, okay, so I think that what you have told us is that for it to qualify to be called erectile dysfunction or indeed impotence, ifunikati problem yankala at least 1 month muntu angovutika so chabe nishitaziba tupali problem, isn't it?
Yeah, that's when we can. There's a tool that we use when we are making a diagnosis of someone to say they have erectile dysfunction. So it's called the International Index of Erectile Function. This tool is used worldwide, so we are using this tool. If you go to America, you go to Britain, they are using the same tool. So this is a validated, standardized tool that we are using so that we give a same kind of treatment to everyone. So for us to apply that tool to a patient who has come with this problem, they need to have had this problem for at least that period. That is when we are going to say this is clinically significant.
Okay.
Because like I said earlier, almost every man will not say their sexual performance has been at peak throughout. Okay. It works as a means, it improves. Sometimes the man, for one or other reason, is going to fail to perform.
Okay. All right. Okay, doctor. So now we have established that this man has a problem. Is there anything he can do? Akali panyumba doc. Akali bobwera kulimwe. Panyumba chabe ayambako chitako vinamu wamene vimamtadize. Is there anything someone can do at home to improve or get relief from this situation?
From this situation? Yes, there's quite a bit that can be done. Sexual dysfunction, like we said, it is a common problem, and you are going to see that it is a common problem when you look at every pole and poster on the street. You find an advert by these non-conventional medical practitioners advertising their products to treat this problem. So if you see a lot of people actually advertising and making money out of it, then you know the problem is significant.
Okay.
So this problem is really very significant, and a lot of our men out there, a lot of them, are accessing these non-conventional medications, and they are using them. Unfortunately, these are not conventional treatments, so we cannot say what they can do, what side effects they can do. We haven't studied it. But what a man can do. So first of all, before we say what a man can do, we need to look at the causes. What causes erectile dysfunction? So you find that among the common things that are going to cause erectile dysfunction, we can grade them into what one can do something about, like what one can change and what one can't change about. So you find things like age. A man who is younger, in less than 40 years old, is going to have a much more rigid erection compared to an older man. So as you grow older as a man, you find that your erection is not going to be as good as it was when you were in your early 20s. Then that's one. Then obviously there are some medical conditions also that are going to affect the strength of your erection. So people who have medical conditions like diabetes, if they don't control it very well, then later on it is going to affect their ability to erect. You are going to have people with hypertension, BP. So if you have BP and you don't take your medications well enough, over time it is going to affect the way your erection actually operates. Then you have other problems with hormones, problems like people who use a lot of drugs, people who smoke. So alcohol and smoking is also significant contributors to the process of erectile dysfunction. So now what can a man do? Like men smoke. So if you want to do anything to make sure that you don't have an erectile problem, like they say prevention of those problems will be your erectile function. So if you lose weight, exercise, stop smoking, stop drinking too much, take your medications for conditions that you have, get checked out for conditions that you have, then you are going to prevent yourself from getting erectile dysfunction.
Okay, so ndiye kunyumba kumanji. Okay.
So at home, the only valuable thing that we can encourage is that someone prevents themselves from having erectile dysfunction by living a lifestyle that does not predispose them to having this problem.
Okay, Doc. So, okay, you've told us what we can change ourselves, yes, in order to try and avoid this problem of erectile dysfunction. So now it's at the point where I can't change it, Doc, and I need to come to the health center, the health facility for help. What are you going to do for me?
All right, so there's quite a bit that can be done. Or by that I mean there's a lot that can be done for someone who has erectile dysfunction. But the most important thing our listeners need to take note of is that erectile dysfunction is an indicator of problems in usually many patients. It is an indicator that there's a vascular problem going on. There's an abnormality of your blood vessels in the body, there's an abnormality of your nerves in the body going on. So if you have erectile dysfunction, what your body is just telling you is that you have a problem with your blood vessels. So when you come to the hospital, that is one thing that is going to be looked at. So are you having problems with your blood vessels, and what other organs is this a blood vessel problem involving? Literature has said that up to like 10%, 10-11% of people with erectile dysfunction, for example, are going to have a major cardiovascular disease. They're going to have a stroke, they're going to have a heart attack in a period of 5 years. So you see, it's not just your erection that you need to worry about. You could have the problem, you could self-medicate at home, but something major is happening in your body. So if you have an erectile dysfunction, what it is telling you is that there's a blood vessel problem going on, and you need to have yourself checked. It is not just the erection that is going to bother you. You might have other life-threatening conditions going on.
Isn't an erection life-threatening, Doc?
It is socially.
I think it is. I think a lot of men would agree and say, better myself of erection. Doc.
Obviously, yes. I mean, erection is a measure. It is a determinant of quality of life. So,
yes.
Erection, sexual satisfaction is a very important aspect of our social life.
Yes.
It causes the feeling of well-being. So obviously, it is an important aspect. But then, just like it does, so then we should also think about other things that will come with erectile dysfunction, other problems that can be associated, that can be also caused because of the vascular problems that you are having that has led to erectile dysfunction.
Okay, all right. So obviously there is help to be had in the hospital, and as the doctor is explaining, perhaps we're not going to limit ourselves to when we go to the hospital erectile dysfunction, but obviously it's telling us that there may be other things also going on in our body. Is that correct, Doctor?
Yes.
Okay, we are going to have to take a break for the summary at 10, and please remember, join us on the other side, because this discussion continues and we haven't even heard from you yet. We haven't even finished the discussion yet. But there's a very beautiful lady somewhere whose birthday it was yesterday, and I'm so sorry I forgot. But here is me making up to you now, Isabel Mshanga. This is about you. Happy birthday. You're special, you're beautiful, we love you, and enjoy your day today. Okay, join us on the other side. I don't know if she's listening, but yeah, someone's gonna tell her.
She's live on Facebook.
Ah, she's live on Facebook. Sorry?
It's not our
Oh, you? But it's the same as talking to your patients, isn't it? No. What's the difference? What's the difference now? I always, the other week, who was that doctor we had? Who was so nervous? Were you the one who was there?
No, I wasn't.
Who was the one who was nervous? Even to us, please, switch off Facebook. I'm saying, but you see patients every day. What's the difference? He says, no, but I one-on-one. Oh, wow. Can you imagine how we feel every day?
No, this is your private partner.
Yes, but for me, that's why I'm always very careful when I say on radio, because I realize that there's so many people who are listening, and if I am saying something which is not true, or which is malicious, or which is insulting, how many people are listening to that? And how many people are being influenced? Maybe wrong personal views or whatever. So I'm very careful now. For me, it's a huge responsibility. Or when I do someone to talk, I want them to be giving out correct information. So on this radio station, I try to keep this about to a minimum. And I tell them, if you're coming to this radio station, you don't have a cure. You only have human posters. That's all. That's all. You're not going to
wamatayatayi kusakira tandizo kuti vapole kumatenda wamene vadwala.
How are you doing on Facebook? Is she there?
Problem kulibe. Fikani kumaranatha.
If she's watching?
Yeah.
What's her name, madam?
Isabel.
Vapesha testimonies.
I need them Shanga used to be a ZNBC.
You have two requests. I mean, two messages on Facebook.
That one.
Sorry?
They're asking what you.
Yes, two.
So you send them to me then.
The other one is long, so I'll give you my phone. Then the other one I've written it down.
And send it to me.
I send it to you?
Yes.
Okay, let me do so.
Yes, Maranatha Natural Healing Ministries. Vatandisa, Valinama Hepo Supplements, Monga, Maranatha Super Immune Juice, Tamamo Juice, Chirani Herbal Therapy, Maranatha Detox, Maranatha Body Cleansers, Vapeseka, Bumsinda Lusaka, Alipamandevu Roundabout, Gawe Road. Bumsinda Lusaka, Alipamandevu Roundabout, Gawe Road. Uchipata, opposite Chatoa Lodge. Tumanifoni, pa 0760 46 77 84. Komanso, 0760 46 77 84. Maranatha Healing Ministries, Mabanda ya Tanzi, Tipo, Tanzi.
All rise. I now declare you free. Free indeed. Free men, you stand under the flag of our land.
Now you can get real freedom to call all networks at the same rate. Get your daily, weekly, or monthly voice and data freedom bundles from Samtel today and enjoy the lowest rates in town. Simply dial *422# and select for all net freedom. Samtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
We love to wash, wash, wash. Looking so good. We love to wash, wash, wash. Smelling so fresh. We love to wash, wash, wash. With Bullet washing powder. We love to wash, wash, wash. Looking so good. We love to wash, wash, wash. Smelling so so fresh. We have to wash, wash, wash with bullet washing powder. With just a little sprinkle, the heat is gone. So easy on your colors and your hands too. Your laundry smelling fresh, soft and clean. Bullet washing powder. We love to wash, wash, wash. Looking so good. We love to wash, wash, wash. Smelling so fresh. We love to wash, wash, wash with bullet washing powder.
This festive, I feel good because I choose to watch Pats and Dr score again and again. I choose the best local dramas.
With the new summer.
To hip hop, I choose the most heart-touching shows.
You and every other man forget the love of your life just like that. So easy, so quick.
For kids, I choose cartoon shows that are full of laughter. Hell yeah! Choose over 100 channels full of joyful entertainment. Choose DSTV and get a Zappa HD decoder, dish kit, and 1 month compact package for only 699 kwacha. DSTV, it's your moment.
Patricia Chibiliti amenzo pabola Christopher Katongwati ichikankala kukwata omupashi wakubombera chapamu Hudson Daka asusire pali wakati awampira banankwera wa muno Africa ngachapu chikuti bakwanisha na ine wine kuti nakwanisha tutiro mpira wakumakasa kubombera chapamu ngegumba nokufwaisha ukubombesha nokuchira pali tupelana maka Yesu ukuchimvya nokufirwa ukupima omulopa nokulira efilamba epo tubukira kabiri echa kulekeresha tukwata kumano kubya tubera mukuzendama bola ebumi pabondi pa bola ya pase Go TV utemweni.
Good morning, it's 10 hours. This is Millennium Radio with the news summary.
With the news summary at 10 hours, my name is Ubumi Bwesu. The Civil Servants and Allied Workers Union of Zambia says the decision by government to withdraw the circular on the lifting of the suspension of the staff movement in the public service is retrogressive. On Thursday, government withdrew a cabinet officer circular dated October 28, 2021, which lifted the suspension of all transfers, secondments, and promotions in the public service. Acting Secretary to the Cabinet, Patricia Chibiliti, said the withdrawal has been necessitated by the need to review all recommendations for staff movement that were made between May 1 and September 5, 2021. But Civil Servants and Allied Workers Union Secretary David Chiobe says the government would have concentrated on investigating the specific cases cited in the circular rather than suspending the whole process.
Which will come because we did it, I suppose what was needed to do at all of employment for public education, especially maybe certain side of employment.
Some of the people who are listening.
Now, for sure,
You know, I'm looking at the list of some of them who are listening.
they may have this, but again,
How many men? Wow.
you need to understand that there must be something else. I mean, maybe they don't look at
I will look at them back.
So when they do government, let's see, there are a lot of investigations that are going on.
The Zambia Association of Citizen Contractors, ZACO, has urged consumers to brace themselves for higher prices of imported flour and war towels. Government proposed to increase customs duty to 25% from 15% in the 2022 national budget on flour and war towels imported from outside the Comesa and SADC regions in order to promote the growth of the ceramic industry. Government has extended statutory instrument number 63 of 2021, which expired on 31st October 2021, suspending customs and excise duty on importation of edible oils to help cushion the prices of cooking oil on the market. Crushers and Edible Oil Refiners Association Director Ubumi Bwesu has confirmed to Millennium Radio that the SI has been extended until the end of this year, after which duty will have to be paid on imported edible oils according to duty scales that existed before the SI was issued. Dr. Chibiliti says the association had also requested for an extension of zero rating of VAT, which has been extended until 31st December 2022. The government has asked the association to do other things which are subject to engagement. And Dr. Chibiliti says that none of the members of the association have increased the prices of cooking oil on the market.
the government has actually extended the SI 63 has been extended up until the end of this year. That is, after that duty will have to be paid on imported alcohol according to the duty scale that had prevailed before the SI 63 was issued. And we as industry requested for that because that is how we protect our investments, right? Okay, if there is no duty on imported edible oil, then why would anybody operate a factory?
Some traditional leaders have appealed to government to carry out an assessment that will establish how many chiefs' palaces have so far been constructed. The government under the Patricia Grant had embarked on the construction of 288 chiefs' palaces throughout the country in 2015, with each palace valued at 650,000 kwacha. Chief Chibiliti of the Runda People in Ninilonga district is expecting that as the government takes over the project, the construction should include the actual administration of the chieftaincy. Meanwhile, Chieftainess Mwenda of the Tonga-speaking people in the Chikangata district, whose palace has reached 85% completion stage, says government must ensure that works are expedited. A new draft agreement to avert the worst impacts of climate change is expected to be announced in the coming hours after talks at the COP26 summit in Scotland passed the Friday deadline. Sticking points have included subsidies for coal and other fossil fuels and financial help to poorer nations. On Friday, envoys from small island nations threatened by rising sea levels said their land was fast disappearing. The conference president, Alok Sharma, urged an injection of can-do spirit. Mr. Sharma said he planned to release an amended draft deal at 08 hours GMT on Saturday based on consultations that continued late into the night. Meeting the goal requires global emissions to be cut by 45% by 2030 and to zero overall by 2050. That ends the summary.
Honey, your breakfast is ready.
Fast breakfast.
Oh, by the way, today I've creamed your coffee with the new delicious Cream-It coffee and tea creamer.
Oh.
Enjoy.
Goodness me! Anyway, Bernard Jr., what did you do to this coffee? Absolutely splendid, creamy aroma.
What you doing? Cynthia.
The aroma is just absolutely intriguing.
Once you've tried the new Cream-It coffee and tea creamer, you'll never be the same person again. Smooth, creamy, delicious texture turns any hot beverage into a world-class hot drink. So indulge yourself. The next cup of coffee or tea you make, Cream-It. Cream-It coffee and tea creamer. It just tastes better when you cream it. Manufactured by Dairy Gold, a Trade Kings company.
All rise.
I now declare you free. Free indeed. Free men, you stand under the flag of our land.
Now you can get real freedom to call all networks at the same rate. Get your daily, weekly, or monthly voice and data freedom bundles from Samsung today and enjoy the lowest rates in town. Simply dial *422# and select for all net freedom. Samsung, your digital lifestyle partner.
2. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 3 more adverts.
ndikuchulukisa zotuluka kupambana ndi kugonja kutulusa tukutalagazi ndi misozi ndiye zomwe chiukirapo ndiponso chamasiriziro kuganizapo tisanagone bola ni umoyo mabondi pampora ya pazet go tv ikondeni.
What does 3 TVs with one subscription add up to? One happy home. You can now get one subscription for 3 different viewing environments. Yes, you heard right. 3 TVs, one subscription under one roof. It's dad screaming, "What a goal!" It's kids laughing out loud. And it's mom saying,
Oh my gosh.
get one subscription for 3 different viewing environments. Terms and conditions apply. DSTV. It's your moments.
As required by the National Health Insurance Act number 2 of 2018, the mandatory registration of Zambian citizens and established residents to the National Health Insurance Scheme commenced on the 1st of October 2019. Therefore, all employers are required to register their employees. This includes those employed in government agencies and parastatals, the private sector, NGOs, as well as domestic workers, shopkeepers, and farm workers, among others. The scheme further provides for self-registration for the self-employed and those in the informal sector, such as small-scale farmers, bus drivers and conductors, marketeers and traders, among many others. Register today on our website www.nhima.co.zm. For more information, call our toll-free line 8000 or visit our offices at the Levi Mwanawasa Medical University. National Health Insurance, leaving no one behind.
They say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But what about the germs? Did you think about that? Each of them live in and explore their own worlds. And my job as a mom is to not let germs get in the way of their creativity and well-being. I trust Boom Hygiene Plus Antiseptic Liquid to protect me and my family. Especially the little ones. So I say, 1 cup a day keeps the germs away.
Boom Hygiene Plus Antiseptic Liquid. The family germ protector.
TB is a potentially serious infection disease that mainly affects the lungs, just like the COVID-19. The bacteria that causes tuberculosis is called Mycobacterium tuberculosis, MTB.
Ubumi Bwesu, Zambia's most popular radio health program. Join the Millennium team every Saturday at 9 hours.
I'm having fever, Pamene Paja sanitize. Immediately social distancing, face mask as you are escorting me to the health facility. Because you remember, you can't treat yourself at home, or you can't just say you need COVID. You need to go to the hospital and be screened.
Health issues made simple. Is it diabetes, tuberculosis, difficulties in pregnancy, high blood pressure, or kidney diseases?
Once when I take that magnesium, that will experience diarrhea.
Join us every Saturday at 9 hours.
So there is what is known as dyspepsia. Dyspepsia just means that you have irritation in your GIT as a consequence of too much acid. Then there's also another condition known as bloating. If you're just bloated, you're constipated chronically, mucobaptism is a laxative, so it can cause diarrhea.
Ubumi Bwesu, only on Millennium Radio.
Thank you so much for staying with us, and to those of you who are following us on our Facebook page, this is Ubumi Bwesu Bwesu, and thank you to all of you who are listening and following us on our Facebook page. And today we're talking about impotence, and my guest is okay, we'll take a break.
It's not my phone.
No, it's not my phone either.
Maybe it's this side. But how?
We do apologize for that. We're getting feedback, and so we're not able to continue. But now we're okay. We're set. This is Ubumi Bwesu on Millennium Radio, and today we're talking about impotence. And as I was saying, to those of you following us on our Facebook page, thank you so much. And to those of you who are listening, continue to do so. My guest is Dr. Robert Kachacha from the University Teaching Hospital Department of Urology. And before we went to the break, he had just been telling us about what we can do at home in order to mitigate, I think is the word I'm going to use, taisirira kusopa mono, tachosako guai, tasirobema, we reduce on our alcohol, we reduce on our weight, we exercise and so on. Those things might help to mitigate the issues. But if we are going to go to a medical facility, he says, they will look at what else is going on in our bodies, because maybe the erectile dysfunction is just one sign that is showing us that other things are also going on in our bodies. And so, Doc, we continue to talk about, men have said, no, what surgery, you know, we got a fin to sew, what. I don't know those things.
So the management of erectile dysfunction or of impotence is graded. So the management of erectile dysfunction is graded. So there's, first of all, just counseling. A great many patients, especially younger men who are less than 40 years, it is been realized that their erectile dysfunction is more in the brain, it's a psychological problem. So just counseling, just talking to someone, airing out the problems that one has, just talking to a specialist. Sometimes that helps. It in itself is curative, so it can help take away the problem.
Just there, Doc. So you're saying that sometimes this person will have erectile dysfunction because so that worry or source of concern or challenge is what affects them to stop performing.
Yes. Oh. So maybe we go back. You will find that the control center of an erection is somewhere in the spine. So that's where the erection, for someone who have an erection, that is where the center for initiating an erection is located. So it's located somewhere between the thorax and the pelvis, in the back of in the spine. So now, this is controlled by one's emotions, one's thoughts, one's likes and dislikes, obviously, which are coming from the brain. So even if it is located lower down in the spine, what men think about, what men are looking at, what men are seeing, and what men are hearing, all that can affect when and how one gets an erection. Now, if there's something going on in the brain, obviously it can have a suppressing effect on the ability of this man to have an erection. So, like I'll give an example of a couple who is always fighting, who are in differences. Obviously, it will be difficult for the man to have his erectile function up to be at its peak. So, psychologically, there is always an input of the psyche in the ability of a man to get an erection. So, you can't implant something in such a man. You just need to sit down with them, solve the problems. If at all there are marital issues, they can sit down with a professional, talk about those. Once you take away the psychological, emotional problems that they are having, then the erectile problem goes.
Okay.
Then, now there are some people who, their psychological issues are all in place, everything is fine, but they have actually a physical problem. So, now for the physical problem, then there's a number of interventions that can be done. So there is medicines that can be taken orally, there are injections that can be given, and later on when it is at its terminal end stage, then you can put implants.
And they will help.
Yes, obviously it's very helpful. But this is something that is done when the problem has become like, I mean, it's a big problem. And these other interventions that
have not worked.
Yes, the oral medications, the injectables have not worked. Then is when you can put in an implant.
Okay, doctor. We will be opening our phone lines, and the numbers to call are 0962 870921 and 0953 448 551. Those are the numbers that we are going to be calling. But Doctor, let me. Okay, someone is asking. Doctor.
Yes, please.
What causes low sperm count, and how is it related to our discussion of impotence?
So, low sperm count. Really, there is a distant, if at all, any relationship between the number of sperms one is producing and their ability to erect. So it's not necessarily that the man with a most rigid erection is going to have the highest sperm count. There's really no straightforward relationship. Yes. Now, there are quite a number of things that are going to affect the numbers, the quality, and the quality of sperm, as it were. Yeah, so that's a topic for another day. But there's quite a number of things that can affect the number of sperm.
But the two will not necessarily go together.
No.
So someone can have a low sperm count and still have these fantastic erections.
Very, very, very likely, yes.
Yeah, and the one with fantastic erections
with low
sperm count. Okay, all right.
So there's really very little, if at all, any relationship.
Okay, Doc, and before I open my phone lines, I want to ask this question, and I'm sure some of our men are going to ask it too. Or maybe they'll be shy, but I'm thinking for them. So, Doc, all these Mtototozi, Viagra, Blue Pill, Congo Dust, the things you're talking. Well, I have to know these things because I'm coming on radio. All these things that people put on posters and so on and so forth. Doctor, will they affect impotence, or because men want to be stronger, last longer, do more rounds, and so they take all these things? But does it have an effect on impotence, or can it lead to impotence?
Some of these things, obviously, we're talking about the Congo dust, they haven't been brought to a medical forum where they can be studied, where their side effects can be seen, where their effects can be explained properly. So these are things that we are not very well versed in as medical practitioners, and so I'm not likely to give a very well educated response to that. However, when one begins to take those, obviously it tells us that there is a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, because if somebody is happy with their erectile function, they will not go and take it. They are not going to use their condoms because they are already happy with what they have. So if they have begun to go and use motototo, obviously then there is a problem. So if they use that concoction and it has worked for them, the time they are not going to take it, obviously there's some dependence, so they are used to the kind of performance they get from using that substance. I don't know if it works because we haven't seen them, most of these things. But then also it affects their sight. So they have become psychologically dependent on medication. So if a man believes, no, me, I perform better with Congo dust, the next time they are going to have to function without the presence of Congo dust, then this man is in a panic mode, he's anxious. How am I going to function? I don't have my Congo dust, I don't have my Mtototo, so how am I going to function? So they defeat themselves.
Okay.
They've made themselves psychologically dependent on them.
Okay, 0962870921 and 0953 448-551. This is Ubumi Bwesu on Millennium Radio, and this morning we're looking at impotence in men, and I welcome your questions. Good morning. Yes, Bashampo.
Tamko mwashuke wata. Mkwai.
Bachampo 60 seconds, Mkwai. But not when it was alive, Bachampo. Impotence, eyo tolelanda po. Natasha. Oh my God. Okay. No impotence here. It's about resemblance. Millennium Radio, good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, thank you. How are you?
Yes, Brother Andrew. Okay, okay, Brother Andrew. Well, I'll cover Doctor. Thank you so much. Let's take another call. 0962870921 and 0953448551. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning to you. Yes, Ma Victor. If you are familiar. Okay, Wala Suka, thank you so much. Let's take one last call before he answers. Good morning. Millennium Radio, good morning. 0962870921 and 0953448551. Good morning to you. Hello, good morning. Okay, okay, Doc. Hello, good morning. Good morning to you. Yes, through to Millennium Radio, good morning. AM Kwema Bombe. AM Kwema Mvuma. So after 5 minutes, you come back into the game again. Bora ya tampa na footing. Okay, Mamvuma. Bala squad doctor. Okay, so Doc, maybe let's start with Mamvuma. I think what he's saying is you're in the process of making love. Within 3 minutes, you're done. You are so completely exhausted and so on. But 5 minutes later, you feel you are able to continue. Okay. Is that a sign of impotence that you didn't stretch it for 10 minutes, but instead you're having it in pauses?
Okay. Mr. Mvuma's question is a very good one. It might stretch me into an explanation about the so-called sexual cycle. So when one is making love, there's a cycle which starts at the period of excitation. They have baby, then there's some foreplay involved. That is the period of excitation. Then after that period, then they go into the period of plateau. So the plateau phase usually starts at a time when the actual lovemaking starts. Then after the plateau phase is going to culminate into an orgasm. That is for a man. So first you are excited, then you go into the plateau phase, then you go into the orgasmic phase. Then after the orgasm, then there is a resolution. Usually, even with women this happens, but women will not always have the same kind of pattern like men. They might have several orgasms, they might not have an orgasm, so women are different. But a man, more often than not, or most always, is going to have the orgasm, and after the orgasm, then they are going to have to rest to it's a period called resolution. So they are going to have to settle down before they can have another erection. Now, that period of resolution, it varies. An 18-year-old gentleman is going to have a short resolution period of 5-7 minutes, max 15 minutes, then they are up and ready to have another erection. So that's the measure of the resolution period. Whereas a 70-year-old man, the resolution phase lasts longer. So
3 days?
Yes. You guessed right. So some older men, the older you get, the longer the resolution period. So you find that a younger man is able then to sustain more rounds, more episodes of sexual intercourse as compared to the older man because of the duration of this resolution period. So that is not what we are talking about. So what we are talking about is when the sexual organs are excited, when the male organ is excited, how rigid is the erection. So
that is what impotence is about in summary.
Impotence is, yes. So the rigidness of this male organ is hard enough for it to engage in satisfactory lovemaking, then there is no impotence.
So in this case, there is no impotence?
No, because
for Avuma?
No, because he's having this one is having this rigid erection, they have their satisfactory sexual cycle, and then they go into a resolution. Now, resolution doesn't determine the presence of absence of.
Okay, and so then we let's talk about Victor in Kapiri. He was saying that sometimes he is super strong, and sometimes he is not, and he's wondering, does it have anything to do with the kind of food that he eats?
Yes, it might have something to do with food. It has a lot to do with the lifestyle, really. When one comes home, they're tired, they've been shouted at by their bosses, they've maybe been taken a drink, they're hungry, and then they jump into lovemaking. Obviously, their performance will not be as good. They will not be as good. But then, if this man is rested, he has been fed well, he's relaxed, his psyche has been pampered, obviously he's going to perform better. So, like if Victor was online earlier, we mentioned that the sexual prowess, the sexual function of a man is not like a straight line. So it waxes and wanes. Okay. It waxes and wanes. So there are times when a man is going to perform far better, and there are times that he's not going to perform at his peak. So this happens to almost every man.
So I think that we need to accept as a natural.
Yes,
that not all days are going to be the same, and there will be some down days.
Yes.
And there will be up days.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why we are not going to ask a man to come to the hospital any minute that or any one episode that he notices his sexual performance. Yes. So that's why we say that we give it a period when we see that this lack of peak performance has stretched almost about a month, then is when we are going to take this man and grade them and say this man is having a clinically significant sexual or erectile dysfunction.
Okay. But Brother Andrew, you are married and you have a side chick, and when the wife of the house hears that there's a side chick, she does mankwala, so that when you go to the side chick, you cannot perform, but when you come home, you can perform. What is going on, Doc?
Yeah, claim to be an authority in this area. Obviously, there are some anxiety also has a lot to do with the first time a man goes out to have sex with a new partner. So obviously, the performance with a new partner is going to be different from the performance with an older partner, because there's anxiety involved. There's a lot at play, and fortunately or fortunately, the same anxiety could be a switch for some men. So with a new partner, some men are going to perform differently. By differently, we mean maybe better, maybe badly. And then with an older partner, some men again might perform badly or sometimes better, maybe badly, because they are having these emotional disconnection, social problems, financial problems, and everything else. So it can have an effect on their performance. But when they go out to someone else, then those problems are put on hold. They don't affect the side, and one might perform better. But really, that they are charms that the wife has done to the man. We hear a lot of myths, and we are going to have to, until we are informed better, we are going to put this one among the myths about sexual performances that we hear in our communities.
But for you as a medical doctor, the wife has no charm to play. It's all about the man himself.
Yes, it's all about the mind. Maybe when he's going out there, he has this guilt, this feeling of what I'm doing is wrong. So then, as such, the brain cannot let the sexual organs perform at their peak, because there's that sense of guilt attached to the activity. So then it suppresses the erection.
Bachampo, very strange question about resemblance. Children who are born without your involvement, but somehow people say, but it has nothing to do with you. Totally out of topic though.
I tried to listen to this question, and I find it rather difficult. But then we are all related. We are all children of Adam and Eve, and there's maybe it's possible that there could be two of us, like
has been suggested.
Non-medical literature says that there's always two of us out there. There's always a queen out there. We don't know, but then
there's no sign.
I cannot comment on how a child that is not yours is going to resemble you if you had no real interaction whatsoever with the mother. I will not comment beyond what science says.
Okay, then from our Facebook page, John JB, morning, Madam Chibiliti and Doc. My question is, how can one improve his erectile dysfunction? Secondly, men who take sexual boosters, how can they maintain a much more rigid erection in the near future?
Okay.
And then, okay, so you want to answer that one?
Yes, please. So he's saying, how can one improve the erection? So, to begin with, there are several things that work together to make an erection satisfactory. So, it has a lot to do with the moment, the partner, obviously, and then the health of the individual. So, if you want to boost your erection, like earlier we said, do away with the things that are going to impair your erectile function. So you want to improve your erection, stop smoking, drink in moderation if at all you want to drink, avoid taking illicit drugs, because drugs like cocaine are also going to affect how one maintains the male hormone testosterone, which also drives the erection. It tends to get broken down by these fatty deposits in your body. So you do yourself some harm if you accumulate a lot of fat. You reduce the amount of testosterone circulating around, because it's broken down by the fat.
Okay.
So do those things, take care of yourself. Then, if you want to, what is the next question, the next phase of the question?
He says, those who take sexual boosters,
yes,
how can they maintain a much more rigid erection in the future?
So if they are taking boosters now, like I said earlier, then it means most likely there's a problem. So you only fix something that is broken. You are taking sexual boosters, it means you are not happy with the way your erectile function is currently. So remember earlier on we said this is an indicator of a problem. So it might mean there's a lot of lipids floating around in your body, like fats. There are a lot of fats floating around in your body. In medicine it's called hyperlipidemia. There could be a lot of cholesterol floating around in your body. You could have diabetes, you could be hypertensive, you could be having any of a series of medical conditions which are affecting not only your erection but many other areas of your body. So instead of just taking sexual boosters and being happy about your sexual performance, first of all go to the hospital, get yourself checked. These sexual boosters are going to improve your sexual function. Some of them may, but then they are not going to solve the causative problem, which might be a vascular problem, which might be some cholesterol buildup in your body, and that problem of cholesterol buildup will continue. And 5-10 years, like we said earlier, a great many people who are having this problem are going to suffer from maybe a stroke, maybe a heart attack because of the same problem. So first of all, before you just take the boosters, go to the hospital, get yourself checked, so that the root of the problem can be found out and that problem can be resolved.
Okay. And then still on our Facebook page, Shadrach Sakalika, he's saying, morning doctor and Madam Chibiliti, salt, people say when you eat too much salt, it can cause impotence. And is there medicine for impotence? Lastly, why too many mosquitoes in one season, Jesus. Okay, so let's, salt and impotence. Is there a relationship? Yes.
Yes, so I keep going back to vascular problems, some of which might be caused by things like hypertension. So we know back in secondary school, we are taught that where salt goes, water goes. So people who take a lot of salt found that the more salt you take, the more likely your BP is going to be increased. And in turn, the higher your BP, the more likely that you are going to have erectile problems. Because BP in the long term affects the blood vessels, and it is these blood vessels that expand and relax to sustain your erection. So the more salt you take, the more likely you are to become hypertensive, and the more likely you are to develop erectile dysfunction.
Okay. All right. Okay, this is Ubumi Bwesu, and my guest is Dr. Robert Kachacha from the UTH Department of Urology, and I will take one more set of questions before we wind up. Millennium Radio, good morning. 0962870921 and 0953448551. Millennium Radio, good morning. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Your name, sir? Yes, Papita. Okay. 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 Papita, thank you so much. 096287 0921 and 0953 448 551. You can also post your comments on our Facebook page. That's Millennium Radio 90.5 FM. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello. Good morning, you're through to Millennium Radio. Please speak up. But Dominic Mlanchi yako panono? Yes, for Dominic. It's what? Okay, just hold on a bit. Doctor, have you understood?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, so my doctor will ask her, but Dominic not to tell us that. Okay, let me take another call. Millennium Radio, good morning. Hello, good morning. 0962870921 and 0953448551 if you want to ask a question about impotence. My guest this morning is Dr. Robert Kachacha. So, Doc, maybe let's answer by Pete. Okay, let's take a call. Good morning. Hello, good morning to you. Yes, please. Enquire, John. Okay, can we start again, John? Let's start again. You said yes. Yes. Okay. So you can't continue for a third round, basically. Okay. All right. Mom for that, okay? All right. Okay. Okay, we'll take another call. Okay, let's answer these ones. So let's start with Bapita. Bapita in Kamwe is saying he has heard that there is such a thing as you're naturally impotent because Paja, bamene wenze mwana Paja dog. Dog listen. Paja bamene wenze mwana, baby. Mukombo, unagwela, pakatundu dog nishikwasira you. Yeah, that's the first part of the question. Very interesting. Yes, dog.
This is the first time I've heard of this one.
Are you serious?
Yes, so it looks like my bag of meats keeps
growing.
It's growing. So this is the first time really. But there's no connection between the cord and the erectile function. Besides, by the time a child is born, they don't have the testosterone makeup to have a functional. They can have an erection, yes, but it's not a functional one that like the one that one have after puberty. So there's no science really between the umbilical cord and the sexual function. I don't see one.
So this one I can tell you. So as a person who's having a baby, you are told, and I was told also, for a male child, watch out, keep an eye on the umbilical cord, keep checking on it because so yes, you watch it and you've put the nappy. In those days we're using nappies very carefully that there will be no contact between the umbilical cord and the katundu of the little baby who is 3 days old or whatever it is. But that we were told. Absolutely.
It is not in any medical textbook.
All right.
And I haven't come across any literature or any study really that has talked about this one. And since I'm here speaking medicine,
He can't speak tradition.
I cannot say medically how that is possible.
Okay.
So this is something that there are a lot of things that have been practiced in Zambia by our ancestors. Some of them are good. Some of them are really very good teachings. Some of them are
Questionable.
Some of them are very bad.
Okay.
So really,
This one, no.
we take some of the good things that our ancestors taught us and we adopt them. And this one, really, I don't see the harm. I don't see the harm that it can cause. I don't see the beauty in preventing the umbilical cord from dropping onto the katundu. So I assume this is one of the harmless traditions that our ancestors practiced, but I don't see how.
But Doc, he's saying, are some people just born impotent?
Yes. Now, we are not going to blame it on the umbilical cord which dropped on their umbilical cord which dropped on their sexual organ. So some people are just born like that. There's always something, there could always be something wrong with the makeup. Some people don't have the gonads, there's the gonads, the testes, as it were. Some have the testes, but they don't have the hormonal constitution to sustain an erection. So there is a whole spectrum of things that can go wrong. Congenitally, someone is born that are going to prevent one from having a functional erection. So yes, it is true that some people could be born like that. And some people could also suffer injury as they are growing up. So one can have injury to the pelvis, for example, to the sexual organs, and some of these injuries can later on affect someone's ability to get an erection. So there's a whole lot of things that
Including hormonal imbalance, because he asked about hormonal imbalance.
Yes, yes. So there's a whole lot of things that can go
Okay.
at birth, or really before birth, as someone is formed in the womb, and even as they are growing up, so things can go wrong and one can fail to sustain an erection because of that.
Okay. Then my Dominican Kawe, I think you understood the question better than I did, to something about he's only able to do 20 seconds or something like that.
Yes. So Mr. Dominic was talking about, he was saying he has a problem which is different from erectile dysfunction, because he can have a good erection, but when he starts making love, this will last like 20 seconds and then he orgasms. So this is not erectile dysfunction, like he correctly says. There's a whole lot of other problems that men have other than erectile dysfunction. So the list is rather long. You have erectile dysfunction itself, you have premature ejaculation, which he seems to have, which is medically defined as having an orgasm within a minute of penetrative sexual intercourse. Then there's delayed ejaculation, which is now the opposite. Some people come earlier, some people orgasm earlier, some people orgasm way after, when the partner is tired and the whole exercise becomes painful and less interesting. Some people don't ejaculate at all. Some people ejaculate
at all.
Great, yes. So that is called anejaculation. So during sex, this man tried what they might, try to do to make love as much as they can, but they will not ejaculate. And some will ejaculate into the bladder, so that instead of the ejaculate coming out to the outside through the mantle, it goes into the bladder. And some men still are going to have, or some people still will have pain during their lovemaking. Some people still, they are able to erect, but they don't just have a desire to have sex. So, like they don't have a
Okay. Then but John, his first round will last 5 to 7 minutes. The second round can go up to 30 minutes, and the third round he can't.
So when we were talking about the sexual cycle, we said there's the excitation phase, then there's the plateau phase, then there's the orgasmic phase, then there's the resolution phase. So resolution phase is what he was talking about. So after it comes, then now there's a period which goes up to 45 seconds for him to be in a situation, for him to feel comfortable to re-attain another erection. 45 minutes, yes. Yeah, remember we said some people, depending on how old you are, how physically fit you are, how healthy you are, it depends. So some people, young men, boys, 15 minutes, 5 minutes. Some actually they will have an orgasm within a short break, a short period of time, they're able to sustain another. But as you grow older, as you become unhealthy, as you develop a lot of, you acquire a lot of these non-communicable diseases, then you begin to, with age, your resolution period begins to lengthen. So you find that in the past you used to have an erection 5 minutes after ejaculating. Now it takes you 20 hours. So 45 minutes, yes. 45 minutes is, we are saying 45 minutes, that he is talking about. It might continue getting longer. So he needs to look at his health. If there's anything that he can improve about the things that we've talked about, then he will do it.
Okay, Doc, and we only have 2 minutes left, and you've been here longer than I thought you would. We only have 2 minutes left. And as we're leaving, I want to ask, because I think it's also an important part of the general well-being of our country. STIs and HIV, can they impact impotence? You have 60 seconds. So.
HIV, STIs. So we keep going back to a psychological erectile dysfunction. If one has had a sexual activity that has negatively affected them, there was some STI as an outcome, there was some abuse involved, there was some trauma involved, all that can tend to impact how you view sex. So eventually it can also impact how one's erection can happen. So if one has had an STI with a particular partner, for example, or just among their first experiences of sex, they have this STI, then they have a negative connotation, a negative attitude towards sex, and that can affect how well they have an erection. Not a straightforward explanation really, but yes, it is possible that can happen.
And so this is where we have to end the program, absolutely. My guest this morning was Dr. Robert Kachacha from the University Teaching Hospital Department of Urology, and we're looking at impotence. And as you're going, Doctor, are your offices open for all the men with issues?
Madam Chibiliti, that's a very important question. Really, that is why we are here. Our offices are open. We are operating at UTH from Clinic 7. There is more of this problem than may come out. There's a study that was done in Kenya. It says that the number of men that are coming are actually an underrepresentation of the problem out there. So the problem is bigger, but men are not seen. When women have a problem, they are quick to access healthcare. But that's not what we see among men. So please, men, we are operating from Clinic 7 of UTH. Come and ask if you have a problem. Walk in and consult. We are there for you.
Until next week at the same time, I'm Patricia Chibiliti. Bye-bye.
Stay with you and boom. Boom this, boom that, boom everything.
I
Now
don't
it's
think
boom
we'll get
house
to
and
it,
bleach.
but this is how it always goes. Thank you, Doc. You did very well. Do you want to take a picture? And then he can send it to Isabel.
There's the codes. So I don't know, maybe next week, madam.
He should come up again.
Because people are, even on Facebook, are asking questions. Where you found us who are out of Lusaka, where can we able to find you? What causes out of Lusaka? Out of Lusaka.
Oh, okay.
Yes, out of Lusaka, yes. What is discrete? Discrete. Madam Chizungu.
What is what?
Or dyserect in men.
Dyserect?
Yes, that's what is written. What is dyserect in men? What else? this one is in Caprion asking for, you can find. What of masturbation, dog? So
How does it affect you?
The man is masturbating. When the man is masturbating, obviously they will control the grip, the tightness of the fist. So eventually the penis gets used to a certain firm grip. So now when they are making out, making love,
help me with the phone.
grip is
Please.
not as
The phone I'm using for photos.
For the phone, you can use mine.
They'll be coming shortly with the headlines.
Oh, okay.
we are at 11.
We finished. It's 11, dog.